Grab your favorite Abercrombie hoodie and update your MySpace Top 8. We're turning back the clock 20 years to November 2005.
It was a magical time where your new console had more accessories than your local Claire's jewelry store.
Congress was releasing Culture War DLCs while companies were merging left, right, up, down, down, start, select. Some things never change.
What do Eminem, Sean Connery, and Noseless Tom all have in common? We're about to find out as we take a look at gaming in November 2005.
It's finally here! The Xbox 360 officially dropped this month, and November's game lineup was stacked to celebrate. It also left our wallets with a red ring of death. Here are the standout releases from November 2005.
Where's that tiger? Where's that tiger? There's that tiger. Where's that tiger?
First up, Castlevania Curse of Darkness crept onto the scene. Think Goth Tamagotchi meets classic Castlevania. You're raising, customizing, and unleashing devilish familiars while hacking your way through the forces of darkness. The ultimate goal? Stopping a devil from resurrecting Dracula. What? Did you expect something different? Forget starting a garage band. In November 2005, all you needed to be a rock star was a plastic guitar and half-decent timing skills. Guitar Hero didn't just reinvent the rhythm game genre, it turned living rooms into sold-out arenas and finally gave gamers a reason to use their pinky finger. Call of Duty 2 Big Red One dropped this month. And no, it wasn't a chewing gum collaboration. The title came from your squad, the 1st Infantry Division, who wore a big red patch with the number 1 on their sleeves. Unfortunately, the game was basically a full-price DLC disguised as a standalone release. Still, it packed in a solid campaign and earned mostly positive reviews. In an attempt to counter Microsoft's Xbox 360 launch, Nintendo rolled out some heavy hitters, starting with Mario Party 7 on the GameCube. This was the first Mario Party title to support up to 8 players, though technically we're still stuck with only 4 controllers. Beyond that, it was the same familiar minigame routine. Still, it was miles better than the last Diddy Kong party that I went to. If Mario Party is a little too cutesy for your tastes, you were probably renting Gun from your local Blockbuster instead. This old West shooter was Red Dead Revolver's scrappy younger brother. You play as Colton White on the classic, "Someone hurt my family, now it's revenge time." Cliche? You bet. But it was still a solid ride that pulled in positive reviews.
I never have the privilege of your hospitality again.
Ever wonder what The Shining would be like as a musical in space? That's exactly the kind of question the movies let you answer. This tycoon sim put you in charge of a Hollywood studio, managing scripts, budgets, and the fragile egos of rising stars. It sold poorly, but critics loved it, making it one of the best reviewed games of the month and our hidden gem pick.
You're fired.
WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 dropped this month, introducing 2 fan-favorite features that stuck around for years. Create an entrance finally let your custom superstar strut into the ring in style, and GM mode puts you in charge of running a weekly wrestling show. You could book dream matches, manage rivalries, and even script the most infamous moments in wrestling history, like King of the Ring 1998, where The Undertaker threw Mankind off Hell in a Cell and plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table. Ouch.
What a reversal!
November had some huge game releases, but everyone's attention was on Microsoft and their release of the Xbox 360. Don't worry, we'll talk about it, but first, let's take a look at some of the hardware news from November 2005 that you probably forgot about.
Well, the first Xbox 360 has been sold, and that means it's time for us to get critical.
Sony released the PSP Gigapack, which included the PSP console, a charger, a whopping 1 GB memory stick, headphones, a cloth, a PSP stand, and a carrying pouch. Remember when companies would spoil us? Nintendo released two big console bundles this month, a Mario Party 7 GameCube bundle and a special edition Red Nintendo DS with Mario Kart DS game bundle, giving buyers instant access to online Mario Kart mayhem. Speaking of Nintendo and online gaming, November 2005 also saw the release of the Nintendo Wi-Fi USB connector. The Nintendo DS had Wi-Fi on board, but it only worked with an older, outdated encryption standard that most modern routers had ditched by the end of 2005. The Nintendo Wi-Fi USB connector was basically a Nintendo-branded hotspot designed to solve this issue. Gamers could plug it into a Windows PC and then connect their Nintendo DS to it. But the Nintendo Wi-Fi USB connector was kind of ahead of its time. You're used to having a hotspot in your pocket now. Most Wi-Fi adapters could only receive a wireless connection, not create one. The Nintendo Wi-Fi USB connector got around this by bundling custom software and drivers on the device itself, allowing for a plug-and-play experience. Fun fact, in 2022, there were still enough gamers using this long discontinued device that Nintendo had to publish an official press release asking people to stop due to security concerns.
Oh no!
Guitar Hero introduced the world to the innovative Guitar Hero Controller, a wearable plastic guitar with 5 buttons, a strum bar, and a whammy bar for extra immersion. And thus began the era of sore wrists, broken strum bars, and pissed off neighbors. And that brings us to the biggest hardware release of the month, the Xbox 360, a follow-up to Microsoft's successful Xbox console release 4 years earlier. The 360 was a significant upgrade that had the power of approximately 40 original Xbox consoles, if you believe the gaming magazines at the time. Nonetheless, the 360 felt like piloting a futuristic spaceship compared to the original. With every new console generation comes a new wave of accessories, some genius, most useless, and a few that probably still haunt thrift stores to this day. Let's start with the controller. The Xbox 360 controller was a massive glow-up from the chunky bricks of the original Xbox. Comfortable, wireless, and perfectly balanced. It basically set the template for every third-party knockoff controller for the next decade. Moving on to the actually useful stuff, Microsoft's Play and Charge Kit, a rechargeable battery pack for the wireless controllers. It saved players money while helping save the planet. It was the accessory equivalent of realizing coffee's a lot cheaper when you make it at home. Then there was the wireless network adapter, a pricey little gadget that gave your console Wi-Fi access before that was a standard thing. It was around $50, which felt steep. But, as my dad put it, if it saves me from drilling a hole in the wall for an Ethernet cable, that's $50 well spent. And if you were going online, you had to have the Xbox 360 headset. This flimsy, uncomfortable earpiece was the perfect accessory for anyone looking to cosplay mid-2000s telemarketers. Unless, of course, you were lucky enough to get the wireless version, aka peak 2005 cool factor. Most importantly, the Xbox headset finally allowed console gamers to shout at each other online. Insert joke here about moms or something. Last and definitely least was the Universal Media Remote, a standard TV remote with a built-in Xbox button. The dream was to turn your console into a full entertainment hub. The reality? Another oversized remote control for your coffee table.
Microsoft announced that 212 original Xbox games would work on the Xbox 360 at the time of launch, which was a sizable amount 20 years ago. The list included staples like Halo and Halo 2, Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City and San Andreas, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and its sequel, Call of Duty Finest Hour, Need for Speed Underground 2, and everyone's favorite Xbox classic, Barbie Horse Adventures Wild Horse Rescue.
You're such a good horse.
In the same month, BioWare finalized a merger with Pandemic to form a super studio. Star Wars fans were as excited as the makers of KOTOR and Battlefront joined forces. Unfortunately, the merger failed to bring balance to the Force. In other merger news, Firaxis of Civilization fame was acquired by Take-Two Interactive, finally putting George Washington and Genghis Khan under the same roof as Big Smoke and Gay Tony. In a sort of anti-merger news, Ubisoft publicly declared that they were not for sale, despite the rumor mill saying otherwise. That said, Ubisoft also declined to comment on a potential acquisition by Electronic Arts, who was heavily rumored to be looking to buy Ubisoft at the time. The rumor came after EA bought a 20% stake in Ubisoft, but those rumors were laid to rest in 2010 when EA sold their shares. Video game hater extraordinaire Jack Thompson published an anti-video game book titled Out of Harm's Way, billed as, quote, one man's relentless crusade to topple media giants and save your children from video game madness. As of this video, the book has 2.3 stars on Amazon from 38 reviews. Achoo! Make that 39 reviews. Coincidentally, the Family Entertainment Protection Act was on its way to Congress this month. This bill, introduced by then-Senator Hillary Clinton, called for fines on gaming distributors who sold M-rated games to minors, and also called for an FTC investigation into the ESRB. The bill failed to pass.
We are determined to stop a situation in which video games with pornographic and violent content are being peddled to our children.
Sony finally settled the infamous disc read error lawsuit. The case began after countless PlayStation 2 owners reported their consoles refusing to read discs, or worse, destroying them in the process. As part of the settlement, Sony offered class action members a choice: $25 cash, a free game from a pre-selected list, or a free or discounted repair of their console.
He feared nothing.
Finally, in November 2005, the massively multiplayer online RPG RuneScape hit 500,000 subscribers. Were you playing RuneScape in 2005? Because if you didn't spend your weekends mining in Lumbridge and getting scammed for free armor trims, what were you doing?
If you told me that Eminem, King Kong, Rooster Teeth, and Harry Potter all shared something in common, I'd remind you to DVR Lost for me, because we must be in November 2005.
Who is it? The fucking Girl Scouts. Open the door.
And what can be considered 50 Cent's 10th hit? 50 Cent Bulletproof released this month on the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PSP. The game follows 50 Cent's quest for vengeance alongside G-Unit members Tony Yayo, Young Buck, and Lloyd Banks. The game also features cameos from Dr. Dre and Eminem, marking the beginning of Eminem's video game career, which peaked 10 years later with the release of Shady Wars.
Big trouble, and it is bananas, as you say. I'm not taking any chances. You just want to start.
Saturday morning cartoon fans rejoiced with the release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: Mutant Nightmare on the GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo DS. This 4-player game followed the normal brawler mechanics from previous TMNT games and divided the story into 4 different sections called episodes. But like pineapple on pizza, it wasn't everyone's slice. Most critics gave it a 5 out of 10. What do you get when you mix mainstream marketing with machinima? In November 2005, the marketing team at Vivendi Universal Games set out to find out. They partnered with the internet's leading machinima studio, Rooster Teeth, to promote their new horror shooter, Fear, one of the earliest examples of game publishers recognizing the power of online creators and video platforms.
Sorry, Chief. The new guy's doing that wild narrating stuff again.
After more than 2 decades away from the role, Sean Connery returned to Her Majesty's Secret Service, this time behind a controller. Voicing Bond in EA's 007 From Russia with Love, it marked his first time reprising the character in 22 years, and the final Bond title from EA before the license moved to Activision. Unfortunately, it was more From Russia with shrugs. Critics and fans found it middling, and selling fewer than 300 copies in its first 3 months.
Who are you?
The name is Bond. James Bond.
In hindsight, Guitar Hero is one of gaming's biggest success stories. But back in 2005, that wasn't so obvious. To get people interested, Red Octane needed creative marketing, and that's where MTV came in. The company announced a partnership with MTV Games just as Guitar Hero was set to launch. Under the deal, MTV would feature the game across its programming through promos and competition. And it worked. Guitar Hero sales hit 45 million in 2005. Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie, yes, that was the real title, released about a month before the film hit theaters. And somehow, it was actually good. In a rare case of licensed game magic, King Kong earned lasting praise and stood out as one of the few film adaptations critics genuinely liked. It sold over 4.5 million copies in its first 6 months and won multiple awards. For a moment, King Kong wasn't just on top of the Empire State Building, he was on top of the world, sitting on a throne that looked suspiciously like Peter Jackson's wallet. In other news, about movie-based games that were actually good, Activision extended its deal with Marvel to keep making Spider-Man titles. The first few games from the partnership were critical hits, so there was no reason to let Spidey swing away. The deal also proved one thing for sure. With great power comes very large licensing fees.
Okay. Wow. That was odd. Maybe I just need to take a couple days off. Relax. Just not be Spider-Man for a few days.
In a sequel only those who took the red pill asked for, The Matrix Path of Neo hit store shelves in November 2005. The game let players relive the most iconic scenes from the original film through Neo's eyes. The game even opens with a choice between the red pill or the blue pill. Pick red and you fight your way to becoming the one. Pick blue and Morpheus just sighs and kicks you back to the main menu. Lastly, it was time to grab your broomsticks and prepare your wands for Noseless Tom, because gamers could finally play Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire on pretty much every console available. The game followed the movie story pretty closely, except the ending was changed to be a little less emotionally scarring for younger players. Overall, November 2005 was a pretty solid month for movie games. When was the last time we've been able to say that?
According to official Xbox magazine, our next game was Xbox 360's 2005 Game of the Year. The arcade-style racer Project Gotham Racing 3 launched alongside the 360, delivering one of the console's first true "oh wow" moments. It even featured an updated version of the Geometry Wars minigame. As mentioned earlier, Nintendo came out swinging during the 360's release. Mario Kart DS also hit shelves in November, marking the series' first entry with online Wi-Fi multiplayer. Finally, we could blue shell our friendships into oblivion without the awkwardness of them sitting right next to us on the couch. EA's Need for Speed was already a long-time favorite among racing fans, but with the release of Need for Speed Most Wanted, the franchise hit an entirely new gear. The game introduced a renewed focus on police pursuits triggered by breaking various laws, even simple ones like speeding or driving off-road. It was like Grand Theft Auto if you couldn't leave your car, or shoot guns, or do most of the fun stuff, but trust me, it was still a great time. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, in our next game, protagonist Marcus Reed sets out to clean up Manhattan by practically breaking it in half. True Crime New York City is the second and final entry in the True Crime franchise, falling squarely into the GTA-style open-world genre. It faced criticism from the real NYPD for portraying law enforcement in a negative light, and received less than stellar reviews. The map was impressive, and unfortunately, so were the bugs. If SSX was the cool, stylish snowboarding game, AMP3 was its chaotic, sugar-fueled cousin. It traded realism for absolute absurdity, with over-the-top stunts, bizarre storylines, and cutscenes starring hand puppets. One of the game's actual challenges? Seeing if you could get more injured than your friends. Sonic the Hedgehog had a double feature of releases this month, with Sonic Rush for the DS and the edgier spin-off Shadow the Hedgehog for everything else. Sonic Rush stuck to the classic high-speed platforming formula, while Shadow the Hedgehog decided to introduce guns and mild swearing into the mix. Fuck! It might have worked for a parental advisory rap album, but it felt a little out of place in the Sonic universe.
Idiot, what the heck is happening?
As part of the Xbox 360's launch lineup, we got Perfect Dark Zero, a prequel to the critically acclaimed Perfect Dark series. Despite solid reviews, it didn't quite reach the heights that fans were hoping for. The multiplayer supported 32 players, which sounded incredible, until you realized that none of your friends actually owned a 360 yet.
Hey, Jackson, where are your people? We're at the RV, but we're not gonna wait much longer.
Cameo Elements of Power is our next game, Imagine the development cycle of Hollow Knight Silksong, but without the fan enthusiasm. Development began back on the Nintendo 64 and didn't wrap up until 2 console generations later, when it finally premiered as an Xbox 360 exclusive. With that kind of history, you'd expect a Game of the Year contender. Instead, while it earned generally favorable reviews, it really wasn't worth the wait. Our next game, Condemned Criminal Origins, is a first-person horror thriller where every pipe is a weapon and every mannequin definitely moves when you're not looking. It proved that graphical horsepower plus smart sound design equals one thing. We're sleeping with the lights on tonight. Closing out Nintendo's trio of November Mario releases, we also got Mario & Luigi Partners in Time. Both a sequel and a prequel to Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, this adventure teamed the brothers with their diapered past selves in a quest to rescue Peach after she's been abducted by aliens. Ooh. And finally, the arrival of another even-numbered year could only mean one thing. Time for another Olympics-themed video game! Wrapping up November 2005's many releases was Torino 2006, based on the upcoming Winter Olympics in Turin, Italy. The game lets you live out your Olympic dreams and represent your home country, unless you happen to be from one of the 56 nations that weren't actually playable. Ooh.
A great start.
Yeah, technically perfect.
November 2005 had a little bit of everything.
A brand new console, a brand new controller, and a whole lot of games.
Were you playing the 360 on launch day? Let us know in the comments.
And join us next month for a look at December 2005. See you guys then.